Well, hello there. Welcome to Teal Tinted Glasses Barracuda post-game show. Game 3, Barracuda triumphant with a bajillion to bajillion score because no one plays defense in this series apparently. Barracuda are up 2-1 in the series. They can end it on Sunday in Stockton. So it'll be interesting to see how Stockton comes back after this game, where I thought, through large stretches of this game, I thought that Stockton was definitely the better team. But give credit to the Barracuda as well. They gutted it out, and basically, I thought before Carpenter got that goal, Barracuda were they had their backs to the wall. So I mean, you got to give them credit for that, and then having the presence of mind to really put it away when they could. Let's go around the panel here as I just ramble on without introducing anybody. With me tonight is Kevin Lacey. How you doing, Kevin?
Thanks for having me on your show, guys. I've only seen 20 minutes of this entire series, so just like the San Jose Barracuda, I'm going to gut this one out.
Nice. I like it. And with me again is Mr. Hockey Jerk.
Unlike Kevin, I have seen, 60, 120. I have seen 180 minutes of this series.
Which easily makes you a better fan than I am.
And I'm excited. I'm excited to get bad tonight, you guys.
It's
bad.
And later on, after he does all his, post-game shenanigans, drinking with the teams and celebrating, he will come on. Mr. Zach the Bear will be on to tell us what's going on in the arena and who said what, and So where do you guys want to start tonight? Because this was an interesting game to say the least. A lot of ups and downs. Jerk, what do you think? Where should we start?
I say we start with Michael Brodzinski. It was like he was not even out there again tonight.
Seriously.
Yeah, I mean, completely invisible. I don't know why they signed this guy. Yeah. It's a joke.
What a slacker. That's all I'm going to say.
But no, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I felt this game was a lot more even than the score would indicate, Yeah. Which was a little nerve-wracking at times.
That middle pair of Bergman and Mueller are getting schooled. And I think, I thought the Heed-Ryan combination was better. They had a good bounce-back game, I thought. And, Middleton and DeSimone, I think that you don't, obviously, you probably don't expect much from them, or as much as you would from a pair of, that's a first and second round pick there, playing on that pair. So you'd obviously expect more from that pair than you would from the DeSimone Middleton pair. But I thought the DeSimone Middleton pair handled themselves all right, I thought, from the two periods that I saw. But yeah, that Mueller Bergman pair, I don't know what to think of it anymore, because it's just not good.
Yeah, and it's especially concerning too, because they're the youngest regular defenseman in the lineup, and
right.
You expect them to take that extra step and be like, "Oh, Tim Heed, you can leave. It's okay. We're gonna nail this down." But every time they're out there, I'm just really nervous, and I don't know what you do, because the other two pairs are playing rock solid, and I don't think McNally or Dan Kelly makes that middle pair better.
No, absolutely not. It's kind of a lose-lose. Kevin, you were going to say something there. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say, in our series preview, I think we all thought that the Stockton Heat weren't exactly the best matchup for the Barracuda, even though the Barracuda should be able to handle them. So far, they're up 2-1 in the series, but it might just be a matter of Stockton's really physical, and I think we've seen at times, especially with Mueller, not as much with Bergman, but they struggle with anyone being physical back with them. Like they can handle themselves, like as far as when they're dishing it out, but when they're taking the punishment, it seems like they're just kind of all over the place and don't know what to do. And I think that Stockton's forecheck's affecting them in unfortunately negative ways.
Yeah, I think that's, I think if you ask like me what Mueller's biggest weakness is, it's his decision making. Mm-hmm. And the more you hit him, the worse decisions he makes.
Exactly.
Yep.
So I think, in a series like this, I think that pairing is getting just exploited. And look at Bergman does some pretty predictable stuff too. I'm not going to put this all on Mueller because I think it's a combination of the two of them. I don't think that, one's dragging the other down. I think they've both been decidedly not good. But I think go ahead.
I was going to say that's a really good point to bring up because in the 3 games that I've seen in this series, Mueller and Bergman have both kind of been the same player where they lack the confidence to kind of take control of the play, like they're
right.
always looking to get the puck off of their stick instead of saying, well, maybe I should bring it into the zone and see what I can do. And I mean, obviously it's a concern because they're supposed to log a lot of minutes, especially when you consider the fact that the top pair is going to be logging a lot of power play and a lot of 5v5 minutes. You want that second pair to rely on.
Yeah absolutely. And Bergman, I thought Bergman made a lot of strides this year, but I mean, but this is playoffs now, and you're definitely, being that these are playoff games, it's very concerning how they've kind of really been exploited the way they have.
Yeah, agreed. It's especially concerning when, Middleton and DeSimone, which is supposed to be, the third pair and kind of, especially with DeSimone, the unknown factor. It's right. Obviously it's concerning when you would prefer that pair to be out there over Mueller Bergman.
No, and it's true. We kind of pounded on the defense a little bit here. I think otherwise the defense, I thought they had a good rebound game aside from that the middle pair. Player who really, really didn't impress me at all tonight, and it pains me to say it, was Kevin Labanc. I thought Kevin Labanc just floated. The game's on the line and he's kind of just floating around, and it's unsettling.
Well, that's going to be an interesting decision for Roy Sommer for Game 4 then, because he came out and said, I don't expect this guy to just be in the lineup on merit alone. He's got to prove that he wants to be here. And if Labanc's going to keep doing that, then I would expect Sommer to hold him accountable and take him out of the lineup.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a lot similar to what we saw in Game 2. For bad after Game 2, I had said that it looked like he was just kind of, I'm going to do everything on my own. And if it works, great. And if it doesn't, well, someone else will figure it out. And it's not a good trend to be in when you're 20 years old.
No, I mean, this is a guy who, you don't want to see these kind of personality issues come up. And we don't I don't talk to Kevin Labanc in the locker room. I don't know, but it's frustrating to kind of just see that effort or lack thereof in this case very clearly. Like I thought, I didn't think Timo had his best game, but scored an important goal. When the chips were down, Timo Meier scoring an important goal.
Ended up being the game winner.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So it wasn't his best game, but but Labanc, I mean, every time I saw him, he's just kind of coasting, and I don't know. It's frustrating to watch because you don't want to see those kind of habits kicking in. I know it's the AHL, but it's still the playoffs, and you're still, you should be still playing for a job next year. And I think that you look at the Sharks have had a lot of guys who were anointed. The guys, that we, fans have anointed and media anoints, guys that are just in the mix next year for sure. And then, we see a crappy camp or whatever, and then and then they're out of it. And Kevin Labanc could find himself very easily starting on the Barracuda next year.
Yeah.
Especially with Peter
Okay.
DeBoer.
Exactly. It's very similar to what we saw with Barclay Goodrow. You know, he has that first year in the NHL, and I mean, he doesn't light the league on fire, but I thought, had a solid first year in the NHL, and then, you know, he has to go back to the AHL, and there was a period of time which looks to be over where he was just like, I don't need to be here. I'm better than this, so whatever. I'm just going to do what I want.
Yeah, Barclay Goodrow's a great example of that because a lot of people penciled Barclay Goodrow into their lineup, and then he got passed over by just other players.
Yeah.
Not all of them good.
But on the bright side, Barclay Goodrow scored less than 4 minutes into the game tonight.
Nice. See, Barclay Goodrow's a good guy.
Yeah, and it was a sweet goal too.
Luke, the tennis guy, asking if anyone follows ECHL. I know Alan's doing okay, but I don't really follow it hardcore like I do the Barracuda.
Yeah. Oh, according to Nick Nolenberger, Allen is an affiliate of the Colorado Avalanche.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, they lost 4-1 tonight.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Not doing well. My bad.
Oh man.
My bad.
No,
I thought they just advanced. I'm sorry.
I thought they had already won the Kelly Cup.
Hey, look who it is.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing, Mr. Zach Devine? What's going on in Stockton tonight?
Oh, not much. Have a good night, drive safe. You too. All right, I am literally just getting out of the arena, so sorry
Okay.
about that.
You sound like you're in a windstorm.
Yeah.
It is windy as heck out here in Stockton.
Okay.
I'm a pretty big guy, and I've had to make sure that when the wind kicks up, I've got a foot back. So it's been pretty crazy. So I'm sure you guys have been breaking down the game.
Yeah, we've been.
We broke down all the negative points about.
Yeah,
the game.
we've been talking crap about all the players that we disappointed with tonight.
It's a 5-3 win.
I know. But I thought, we didn't think the middle pair was very good. The Bergman Mueller pair got kind of exposed, I thought, and Kevin LeBanc kind of floated around. Your thoughts on those topics?
Well, I mean, certainly the Bergman and Mueller pairing have had their moments this season, and we have continued to see some of the challenges their play present. They had a number of times where it was just a game of catch with the puck, and there was one play that was especially infuriating. They passed it back and forth 3 times and then iced it.
Right.
And that's just inexcusable, I think, especially for players of that talent level. LeBanc is a player that needs to get going. There's nothing else you can really say about it. It's at the point now where it needs to be addressed. It needs to be a thing. He did have a goal tonight. He had a nice tip of O'Regan's shot. Mm-hmm. But that's not going to cut it. You're not going to be able to, be a future NHLer. And especially with what I think Sharks fans saw, the first couple weeks with LeBanc. Mm-hmm. That's the part where, I don't think he has returned to that level.
We were saying
crazy.
Yeah, and we were saying that if he thinks that he's if he's just an NHLer now and none of this matters, like he's going to be in for a rude awakening because we kind of likened it to Barclay Goodrow a little bit, who didn't really seem to take camp seriously enough, didn't play up to his up in the AHL to start the season very well. But I mean, once he got going, he was great. But the Sharks generally, they're not gonna, Kevin LeBanc they're not just gonna let Kevin LeBanc have a pass here.
Yeah, and not to further crap on Kevin LeBanc, but that goal he scored was changed, and it was O'Regan shot straight in. O'Regan scored.
Okay.
The thing, I don't know, and another thing when we're talking about Mirko Mueller, I think that one thing where I think Mirko continues to struggle is his decision making, and I feel like because this is such a heavy team that they're really punishing him into making some really dumb choices.
I would generally agree with you if it was pretty much anyone besides Mirko Mueller and maybe Jacob Middleton.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys are built for it.
Oh, I agree.
I mean, we're at the point now, I think, with Mirko Mueller's development, he's been a professional for 3 years.
Yep.
If you can't figure out that a big heavy team is going to play big and heavy, I'm just not sure. You come out of the WHL, which is, no cream puff league of its own.
Yeah.
And then you play 3 years professionally, and the Stockton Heat with, are going to surprise you, like, oh my gosh, these big thuggish guys are playing big and thuggish. I just don't buy it. I truly just don't. I agree with you 100%. The decision tree on Mirko Mueller, it needs to flesh out. It needs some extra branches.
Yeah.
And it's, he is young, but he's been a professional long enough to where we should not be seeing these same mistakes game in and game out repetitively.
Right.
That are almost becoming the definition of his game, really.
Yeah. No, I think that's really fair.
And
but,
I think
go ahead.
Sorry.
No.
And
go
your
ahead.
your point on Kevin LeBanc, I think, is a fair one. And Doug Wilson said this at the locker cleanout day, where these guys are playing. They might be playing with the Barracuda, but they're playing for their San Jose Shark jobs right now. And he singled out Sorensen, LeBanc, Meyer, and O'Regan.
Right.
If that's not telling, if that doesn't get you motivated and up in the morning to, get back to what made you successful, that made you, really dominant for the first, 8 weeks?
Right.
Of the AHL season. Again, these are, it's a fine line. These are young players, but they're also professionals. These guys, for all intents and purposes, CHL hockey is professional hockey without a paycheck.
Right.
So, I feel like they're better prepared for the ebbs and flows. But, more is needed from those top players.
Cheryl Ganapol, in kind of a different way, asking, is it time to split up Mueller and Bergman?
My opinion, that probably it was about time in December. I mean, we've said it on the show.
Yep.
I've written about it. I've tweeted about it. I'm not sure Mirko Mueller is the best defender on his pairing.
No.
The flip side of that is, it's not, that's not always how they get deployed. So Bergman, I think, has taken a decent step forward. Is his defensive game better, where it can help mask a little bit of Mueller? Probably. And I'm not sure if I would really want DeSimone and Mueller on the same line.
Yeah.
No.
Sorry, that was actually Christine who asked that. Zach, what was positive about the game tonight besides the win? Talk about something positive.
Well, I think there was plenty to be positive about it. This is playoff hockey. It's not going to be pretty. Stockton's a hungry, desperate team, and they know it. I don't see the Stockton Heat winning 2 in a row against the Barracuda under pretty much any circumstances. So the Heat knew that this was do or die for them. The Barracuda could rattle off 2 against them. I don't think the same is true the other way. So credit to the Barracuda. They found a way to win. They got the job done. And I think that's key, especially here in the playoffs while they find their footing. Their roster is still getting filled out. there's seemingly new bodies arriving every game. This will be it for a while, hopefully. But they're finding ways to win against the team that probably nobody in the West wants to play. And with, the road that's in front of them, they've got to like those chances. Ryan Carpenter's play has been stupendous. In typical Carpenter fashion, he was the first thing when I asked him after the game about, he's now got 3 goals and 3 assists in 3 games. He immediately pointed into Goudreau and John McCarthy as a reason why he's playing so well. And, if that doesn't just sum up Ryan Carpenter, he's pretty much doing it all. Coach Sommers said that he's built for playoff hockey. This is his time of season, and that, Sommer was just kind of nonchalant, like, yeah, this is what he's made for. He's awesome at it. Next question. Almost like it was expected. So he's been really, I think, the best, not just statistically, even without the points. I think he's been probably the most consistent forward for the Barracuda. Maybe actually outside of Grosnick, I think he might have even just been the best player. I think Grosnick's been really good. He's been very steady. Yeah. Even in game 2, I thought that it wasn't a bad game by Grosnick. His defense let him down. He played tough. He hung in there. Didn't dodge anything. Took it on the chin and got back on the horse tonight.
Yeah, Zach, I was a little concerned about Carpenter's play down the stretch coming up to the playoffs. I felt like he was getting, less and less noticeable. But, hey, it's great to see him step up here in the playoffs now with 3 goals. That's exactly what you want to see out of a guy who's definitely a two-way kind of, forecheck is your game kind of player. So.
And
like pointed out, that's interesting because I didn't feel that way about Carpenter's game at all. I felt that he was playing well, and sometimes the points aren't coming, but his defensive game was solid. He was still, he played. We use the term playing a heavy game. He's certainly engaged physically, and that was still there. Wasn't really missing, assignments. So. But point, your point still, the offensive production did take a little bit of a step off, but I thought the rest of his game has been there the whole time.
And I think too, just because, we're getting some question about Carpenter in the chat, and it goes back to kind of what we said, even, we said on the autopsy, and we've said previous shows too, like Carpenter's a guy that's looking for, a path into the NHL next year. He's a UFA, so he can go anywhere. So obviously, he's not only just, playing to win, but he's playing for his job next year.
Yeah, and not just his job, but a job.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly. That's what I meant. Like, he's playing for a job like that could see him get a better path to the NHL.
Right. No, definitely. And I sound like a broken record, I'm sure. There's 25 new jobs about to open up and a shuffling of the chairs on the jobs that become vacant because of it.
Right.
Goudreau is right there. I think Ryan Carpenter is right there. Tim Heed's right there. Grosnick, probably less right there than those other 3, but probably in some conversations. So we'll see. There's certainly a handful of players, and I think Ryan Carpenter, the NHL generally is a "what have you done for me recently" league. And with a really big playoff like Ryan Carpenter's off to, he very well could be playing his way into a one-way contract with somebody.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Anyone else really stand out to you, Zach, from this game?
I thought Mark Jankowski played well for the Heat. He wasn't quite the offensive force, but I know he still has a bit of that the reputation that he disappears, and I think that's not quite fair. So I thought he had a pretty strong game. David Rittich, he's been their best goalie all year. it was no surprise to see them turn back to him. He was solid. He laterally, you can still expose him, and we saw that with the Barracuda goals there late. Once he kind of, if you don't let him get set up, he can have trouble getting side to side.
Right.
He opens up a little bit. I thought Heat and Ryan were better. We talked about that in the last post-game show that in game 2, that was probably the first rough game for that pairing that we've seen all season. So I thought they rebounded pretty well. They're definitely got their hands full with the bigger forwards, but they're hanging tough there. Middleton had. Sorry.
Go ahead, Kev.
What did you think about Rourke Chartier's game tonight? 7 shots on goal. He had an assist. Yep. I mean, just another solid night for Chartier.
Chartier has been kind of unheralded. He's not named with some of the other prospects, but there's so many pieces of his game. There's no problem throwing him out for a defensive zone draw. He kills penalties. He's on the power play. Like you said, he had 7 shots to lead the game. Rittich stoned him twice. It very easily could have been a 2-goal, 1-assist night for Chartier, with just an average goaltender in there. So, he's been big all year, and I think we talk about him a good bit, but probably not enough. He's been the glue on a number of lines that have performed very, very well.
Yeah.
He set up Timo Meyer's goal with a great cross-ice pass. That's a prospect that I've been reading people are kind of lukewarm on, and I just don't understand that. Is his offense translate point for point in the NHL? Probably not. But to me, I see a bit of a Marco Sturm type player, maybe not with that offensive upside, but that similar style.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Do you think that the Heat go back to Rittich for game 4, or could we see John Gillies make his way back in net?
That's a great question. I know the organization is much higher on Gillies, but Rittich has played better. So I think at this point, as a betting man, I wouldn't bet.
I think Riddick probably wants that next game though, because I saw him chirping at a number of the Barracuda players after that game. So
yeah, he's a talkative netminder.
Is he?
He's chippy. He's got, for a goalie, he's got a good bit of sand in his game. He's not afraid of people coming into his kitchen and him shooing them out. But they started with Gillies, in game 1, and I thought he played well in game 1. Game 2 was a little rough, and they made the switch to Rittich just about halfway. And then Rittich got the start tonight. I really think it's a coin flip. Rittich did have a couple big stops, but I thought that like the Meyer goal, it was a great pass, but to me, and I don't have the best vantage point at Stockton Arena, it looked like he got over in time and just opened up way too much. I don't know. I really think that's a coin flip. Whoever starts in net, I think an argument can be made, and this is why I think the Barracuda, having the best goalie in the league, it makes the decision for them. I hate platoons at any level of hockey.
Yeah.
Outside, maybe mites. Maybe in mites, you got to make sure the kids get the starts. Once they get to peewees, no, the best goalie plays.
Wow. I was waiting for you to say, this is Ryan Huska's decision and not ours, so leave it to the guy who gets paid for that.
You know what? And that's, I think Huska's done a really good job with this squad. The Heat were falling into a traditional 3-2 trap when the Barracuda were able to regroup behind their nets. You would see the forward stop just above the face-off circles, and they would go into a trap. So they're showing a lot of flexibility. He's doing a good job coaching that team. They don't have the skill that the Barracuda have. He's using their strengths. The Barracuda have their hands full, and so I think Coach Huska deserves a good bit of credit. And unfortunately, with whoever he decides to go with in goal, he's also probably going to get a fair bit of criticism.
Right.
But neither of the goalies have really stepped up and played lights out to stand up and say, this is my job. So, like I said, as a betting man, I would stay away from this one.
Go ahead, Dirk.
Yeah, so Zach, I want to know what you thought about Barclay Goodrow tonight, because from my view, it looked like he was, pretty much in on the forecheck and the offense for a good chunk of the first half of the game. So I just wanted to kind of know what maybe you saw, if you saw something similar or saw something different.
No, I mean, Goodrow's been that whole line, with Carpenter flanked by McCarthy and Goodrow has been the most consistent game to game, I've thought, with their complete game. Goodrow, it's coming around for him. This is, I think with the heavier game, I think that better suits him with his skill set. And I thought he had a strong game. The Barracuda forecheck I thought was good. My real critique with the Barracuda is their passing is just not crisp right now.
No.
We've seen a whole season of really crisp, well executed plays, and right now they're fighting the puck a little bit.
Yeah, no, I agree. What did you think of my last question from me? What did you think of Sorensen's return to the lineup?
The speed was there, and he was certainly working hard. He had a real hard time with the physicality in the corners.
Yeah,
and there were a couple times tonight where, he played. I want to say 19 games with the Sharks. Is that right? Somebody check on that. But he's certainly if he resigns with the Sharks, he's going to be vying for a roster spot. Realistically, in camp, he's really got to put on some muscle. He was just knocked off pucks a little too easily. The skill is there, the speed is certainly there, but he's got to get a little firmer on his skates.
Yes, 19 games.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, good sir. I will let you get in your car and get out of the wind.
Thank you. Sorry for the audio, folks.
No, it's good. It's good.
But we'll be pulling the same thing. Is there anything else?
Hey, I haven't since I've been out of town recently. I haven't heard anything. Saunders still backing up Grosnick. Anything going on with Armalis we should know about?
Yeah, it's been the Bumblebee backing up Grosnick. I don't think he's any threat to start, but
yeah,
he's been their backup. So that's been an interesting development. But when you can roll out the AHL's top goalie, one of us could sit on the bench and open the door. They might as well do that for a social media giveaway.
Dang, I wish I had won one of those blank, like number 60, number 95 jersey or something during the fan appreciation, just so I could put it on and open the door for Grosnick.
I have a mean glove.
I've been told I'm really good at tracking block shots and face-offs. So
there you go.
My lateral movement is crap. I get lit up.
Oh, I can't move, but if I can get my glove there, you're in trouble. I can't move, so if you make me move, or especially laterally, then it's probably not going to be good. Especially blocker side, no bueno.
Or are they just waiting for goalie coach Evgeny Nabokov just be, all right, I'm going to go back to Grosnick. Forget it. You've driven me to this point.
One couple other quotes after the game that I thought were interesting is I asked Timo Meyer. I asked I thought I was able to talk to Carpenter, Meyer, and Coach Sommer before they jumped on the bus. It was a pretty tight schedule, so that's all I got. But I don't think we've seen a full 60-minute effort from the Barracuda, and I think that's a fair assessment. The players generally, Meyer and Carpenter said, not that worried about it, and Sommer had said, no, he's not worried at all. It's playoff hockey. We're going to push, they're going to push, and it comes down to the final score. And so I think that might be a little bit of an oversimplification, with the overall play ebbing and flowing, but the team doesn't seem all that concerned about it. The power play as well, Sommer is really focusing on the PK, and the PK, was they killed 7 of 8. That's a lot of work. So that was the special teams takeaway that Sommer was pleased about.
I was going to ask something. I don't remember what it is. Anyone else got any questions before we let Zach run away?
I'm just sad that they stopped in ports. What's that?
I said, let him get to his car before he blows away.
Oh. I was just sad that the Stockton Ports are actually playing in San Jose against the San Jose Giants tonight, because I was going to say, go over to that beautiful baseball park across the street and watch the 9th inning. But
actually, I'm parked right in front of it.
Yeah,
so it's a nice a nice field here.
I love that ballpark. But enough baseball talk, folks.
Yeah, what is this? After
somebody's going to tweet at me, stick to hockey.
I know.
It's always
then they're gonna listen to us and go find something else to talk about.
Yeah.
All right, Zach. Thanks for checking in, and we will catch up with you again on Sunday, hopefully after another Barracuda victory.
All right, guys. Take care. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Zach.
Thanks again.
Later, Zach. AO in the chat says for Zach to make sure he doesn't get robbed in Stockton.
As someone who has been to that baseball park, again, right next to the arena, believe it or not, there is a part of Stockton that is absolutely gorgeous. And it is those 2 blocks with the stadium. So he's probably going to be okay.
I've never been. That's like one of the places in California I've never been to. I've never been to Stockton. I apparently haven't missed anything. I've been to Bakersfield. I've been to Ontario.
I've never been to Stockton for obvious reasons.
Yeah, no, I've been to Ontario. I've been to Bakersfield.
Wait, you've been to Bakersfield?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, I watched a wrestling house show there.
Whoa!
I know.
I want to hear about this later.
Oh, way back in the day, man. We're talking like way back in the day. All right. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go too long with this show because 1, I'm tired as fuck. 2, I'm tired as fuck. Yes. Bad language, Ian. Bad language. Anything else you guys want to talk about from this game? Maybe give it a little bit longer.
You know what? I really think if the Barracuda want to win this series in 4, they need to cut out the amount of penalties they take. Like, good God, that was just awful. Like, you're taking high sticking penalties, you're taking tripping penalties. Like, yes, these are black and white penalties that the referee has to call, but at the same time, they are totally avoidable penalties, especially a couple of the high sticks in the first period. Like, Zach kind of touched on it earlier. Stockton, their regular season record indicates that should have been a cakewalk. But Stockton is a team where if you give them a piece, they're going to take the whole thing,
right?
And you can't afford to let yourself kind of get stuck behind the 8 ball, because if the Barracuda, get into the same penalty trouble and, have some similar defensive lapses like they did in game 2, I could easily see Stockton win game 4, and that's not something I want to see.
No, definitely don't want to see it go to game 5.
Yeah, I don't. Oh, that would have been a good question. Chuck McDestiny, where's Parker Gahagan, the guy that the Barracuda or the Sharks were supposed to sign? And
there's last I heard, which was on our, I want to say it was on the autopsy. There's moving pieces, but there's still interest from both sides, and that was on Wednesday's show. So I don't know if much has changed.
Okay.
In that respect,
I would to Chuck, I would just say give it time, because it took almost 6 weeks from the rumors of Sorensen and Heed signing with the Sharks before it actually became official. So
right, and look at Doug Wilson is far too busy trying to trade Pavelski right now. If you haven't been reading the rumors, that is sarcasm. That stuff is nonsense. It's just beyond nonsense. I just had to get that in there.
There was an out-of-town score update right when we started the vodcast here. Nick Cardila scored with 1:33 left in the Ontario-San Diego game to give the goals what ended up being a 3-1 win after an empty net goal. So that series, I believe, is up 2-1 San Diego.
2-1 for the goals. Yep.
Yeah. So
everyone's facing elimination. Just, it's a good time. Let's go around here. Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins, Baby Penguins versus Baby Bruins. They are tied 2 games apiece, so they will play a deciding game 5. The Hershey Bears are up ahead of the Lehigh Valley Phantoms by a 2-1 lead. Game 4 is tomorrow afternoon, if I remember correctly.
Tomorrow evening East Coast.
Tomorrow evening East Coast time. There you go. Yeah. The Syracuse Crunch beat the St. John's Ice Cap in a 3-1 series. The Toronto Marlies beat the Albany Devils also in a 3-1 series, so they will face off against each other. The Chicago Wolves took care of business against the Charlotte Checkers in 3-2. And the Grand Rapids Griffins, who I think are going to be the team waiting for whoever comes out of the Pacific in the Western Final, took care of the Milwaukee Admirals by a 3-0 series win. So they swept. They will play. Chicago Wolves will now play the Grand Rapids Griffins.
And they're lucky that they're playing the Grand Rapids Griffins too, because on the series preview, or kind of the first round preview, I'd mentioned that they should cakewalk Charlotte, but Charlotte had Tom McCullum in net single-handedly getting them into the playoffs. Charlotte was up 2-1 in that series, right? And Chicago had to come back to win it. So
yeah, no, it was impressive. I really like the Griffins this year. So
you think the Griffins will take the Wolves? Because I do.
I do. Yep. Yeah. If I had to guess, I think the Griffins take the Wolves. I don't know. You know what? I watch so little East Coast AHL that I can throw a dart, and I'll say Toronto because they're closer to me than Syracuse.
Yeah, that's who I got too. I think I picked Toronto and Syracuse out of those series. I think Toronto's going to take them. So,
you want to throw some darts, hockey jerk?
I love throwing darts. Yeah, I think Toronto is going to win their series just because Toronto has.
I was going to say, because it's the only AHL coverage that's ever on NHL Network.
Right. Toronto has a lot of guys on their roster who, could theoretically be pushing for NHL spots next year. I mean, Kasperi Kapanen, obviously. I believe they just got Carl Grunstrom signed. I don't know if he's with the Marlies, though.
Don't know.
It's very possible. And then defenseman Andrew Nielsen, I believe is his name. Solid piece there as well. But I'm going to get the biggest dart I have and throw it at the biggest dart board I have. And I'm going to say that Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins are probably going to be the Eastern Conference champions, just for the hell of it.
Edmonton is now up 2-0 in their series against Anaheim.
Yay! Vlasic's playing in the World Championships. It's the World Championships. I don't care.
I've heard that apparently Finland, the country of Finland, I should say,
Right.
they are really upset that Patrick Laine is not playing for the World Championships because the poor 19-year-old kid decided to take the summer off. And apparently the people of Finland are outraged by this. Folks, give it a rest. You have many more World Cups and hopefully Olympics to see Patrick Laine play for your country.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna see the world. We're gonna see the World Cup of hockey every year.
Ugh.
God, I hope not.
With Team North America and Team Europe taking on Team Southern Hemisphere and Team Snow Baron Hellscape.
There's two. I 4 goals for Thornton's giving me crap, but you know what? Look at the World Championships. I like best on best hockey, and the World Champions is just whoever's left over. Look at, I'm going to cheer for my country, obviously, but there's so much hockey on right now that it's just hard to care about the World Championships. You got junior playoffs that are in the final stretch before the Memorial Cup. You have the Stanley Cup Finals. You have the Calder Cup playoffs. There's just, it's too much.
And we can't even follow the Kelly Cup playoffs, even though we've been asked to. So we'll try and get you some Allen Americans coverage here soon, folks.
Yeah, we'll find somebody to cover Allen. I have no time.
Maybe we'll just have to bring back that Drew guy.
Terms still to be determined.
Chuck asking, where am I from? I am in beautiful Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, Canada.
Yes.
Over in these coast where it's 1:30 in the morning.
All right. Before we leave, I do have a question for you guys.
Sure.
Is this the least anticipated draft lottery tomorrow ever? Because, man, I'm hearing nothing about it. It's tomorrow, guys.
What? No way. Is it really tomorrow? Well, this is what happens, though, because, like, all the Canadian teams like that mattered make the playoffs, or they don't have good odds for things. So there's no press.
Yeah.
There's no press.
It's just it's amazing to me that poor Nolan Patrick. I really hope he goes to Vegas. I hope Vegas wins the lottery tomorrow.
I'm still at Nico Hischier for one.
I would love that. I would love that. Obviously,
Agreed.
I love the Swiss players except Mirko Mueller. So,
dang. Now, you know what? I mean, again, I don't want to hurt myself too bad from patting myself on the back, but I've been saying Nico going number 1 for a good little while now.
Yeah.
So that me saying that pretty much all confirmed that Nolan Patrick will be going number 1. So
I really liked. I was really on the Hischier train, especially after the World Junior, and I kind of just haven't left.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is like you could make the argument that the book on Patrick is written, and it's a pretty good book, no doubt. But I think he only played like 33 games with Brandon this year. Like, the injuries are going to kill you one way or another.
Yeah, and you know what? Here's a little cautionary tale. Do you know the last person who got drafted first overall after missing significant time?
Pat Falloon? I don't know.
Patrick Stefan.
Patrick Stefan.
Oh, Patrick! Oh no! And then, oh no! Okay, Vegas, don't win the draft lottery.
Yeah. So, and if you are unaware of Patrick Stefan's great prowess, just talk EDB. Patrick Stefan, first overall pick of the Atlanta Thrashers.
Oh man, Thrashers.
Just research Alish Hemsky goal with no time left.
Yeah, that's my fondest Patrick Stefan memory, is when he could have sailed it into the empty net and fell down.
And then fell down. Yeah.
Ray Ferraro. That is the most embarrassing thing I have ever seen.
All right, guys. So we're gonna come back. We're gonna come back Sunday and do this again. Obviously, like I said, I'm trying to keep these post games a little bit condensed because on Wednesday we did a 2-hour show, which I hope you all listened to and I hope you all enjoyed. And we'll do another normal-ish show at some point. This week's gonna be dicey, especially if there's a game 5. It's game 5 would actually be terrible because it'll be a Tuesday night, and that's just bad. I got so much shit to do Wednesday. It's not even cool. All right, so let's get us out of here. Obviously, thanks for watching. We always appreciate the time, you guys taking time to listen to us yammer on about the AHL of all things.
People in the chat just lighting
we
up
definitely
Stefan.
appreciate it. Final thoughts, Kevin.
All I can think about is Patrick Stefan.
I know. I'm sorry. I did that to you.
Okay, San Jose Barracuda. Game 4. No Patrick Stefan moments. Go handle business 5-0. Take it down, because I have things to do on Tuesday night, and I will go to the Barracuda game if there is Game 5. But I would like to go do my other things. So. And I brought it back. I'm at Kevin Lacey 22. Thanks, guys.
Oh, there we go. Mr. Hockey Jerk.
So if the Barracuda can take any less penalties than they took tonight, which I think they took around 1,000 penalties tonight. So
Right.
if they can take less than 1,000 penalties on Sunday, then they're going to be in good company. They did the first period, and then obviously parts of the third period. I thought they did a really good job of controlling the play, and a couple lapses during the second period, but I still thought they were the better team, and I think they should be able to take care of Stockton, providing there's some kind of unforeseen catastrophe.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts are kind of along the same vibe. One, I have some stuff due Wednesday, so I really, really can't be watching Barracuda hockey. So don't do this to me, Barracuda. Don't make me put off, don't make me do now what I can put off to the last minute. That is the moral of this story. But if they can play their game and stop playing Stockton's, because Stockton's going to goat you into a lot of these stupid penalties, and they did a really good job in Game 1 of not playing Stockton's game and have done a significantly less good job since. So hopefully they can do that, put this series away, let me put things off until the absolute last minute, and we'll all be happy. Other than that, though, guys, have a good night again. Thanks for watching, and come back Sunday right here. Subscribe, hit the audio stream on Google Play, SoundCloud, iTunes, all of that good stuff. Subscribe here. Hit up Teal Town USA, where I hope to write something, maybe if I can find some time. But we have some articles there. Felix just did a cool article. I have a couple of older articles there. So, check out all the stuff we do, tealtownusa.com. Thanks again, guys.